Hello, 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 Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Souls, this is Rachael Alexander, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor. And I wanted to shoot a quick video about 3 signs that you are in a state of depression masked as spirituality. So I'm going to dive right into this topic because this is something that I think a lot of Mosaic Souls, a lot of high achieving spiritual women who might have embarked on a spiritual awakening. But if you're feeling lackluster, if you're feeling like your life is on autopilot, if you feel like you're burnt out, if you're overwhelmed or scatterbrained, or you just feel like your life needs to be more. It just feels like you're not living up to your full potential. It feels like your life is just not where you want it to be. There might be a strong possibility that you've been living in a state of depression that you didn't really know you were living in. And it might have been masked as spirituality. So I'm all about spiritual pragmatism, first of all. Just the background for this video. I'm all about spiritual pragmatism. And what that means is that I am a pragmatist in the sense that I like simplicity, but I also like to utilize tools and to allow tools in my life that actually helps me reach my desired outcomes, helps me be the person that I want to be, helps me live the life that I want to live. So I approach spirituality in that way. Meditation, utilizing spiritual tools like meditation, yoga, and different other various practices in spirituality. I utilize them as tools to help me be the version of myself that I want to be and experience the life that I want to experience. So with that being said, a lot of times people can go through a spiritual awakening or just go through life and find themselves having changed their character or their zest for life or their passion for life and what they do in the world and how they lead their lives just sort of change. We sort of get stuck in certain patterns and life just feels just so overwhelmingly mundane and overwhelmingly lackluster and overwhelmingly just unfulfilling and unhappy, you know? And so the three signs that you might be in a state of depression that's masked as spirituality is sign number 1 is that you've lost connection to your passions. You no longer do the things that used to light you up anymore. So you find yourself in, maybe just maybe you have a job or maybe you have a business that's, semi-successful, but it's just bringing in money. It's just kind of doing its thing, or you're just bringing in the paycheck or whatever, but you're no longer find yourself doing the things that you used to do. Maybe you used to be really into knitting, or maybe you used to really be into gardening, or maybe you used to hang out with a certain group of friends all the time that you no longer hang out with. Maybe you used to go dancing and stuff with your partner or whatever, and you no longer do that. You just stop doing the things that you used to love doing, that used to bring you joy. And this is a major sign because when you stop doing what you love to do, you sort of lose touch with your creative power. You sort of lose touch with the life force energy, the prana energy that's flowing to and through you at any moment in time. So that's sign number 1. Sign number 1 is that you've lost touch with your passions. You're no longer connected to your passions. Sign number 2 is that you are feeling just overwhelmingly unsatisfied with your life. You find yourself sort of like in a funk more often than not. So maybe you don't have any like self-care principles, or you don't have anything going on, but you just feel like life is just kind of humming and hawing, and you just feel like life is just not the way you imagined or envisioned it to be. You find that it's just mundane and lackluster. You find that, the things that used to light you up no longer light you up. The conversations that you used to have no longer bring you joy. The people that you used to hang out with no longer interest you. You just lose interest in life. and you've lost interest in you really just feel lackluster. Really, that's sign number 2, where it's just like you lost connection to your passion. Sign number 1. Sign number 2, life just feels really overwhelmingly mundane, lackluster, and unfulfilling. Sign number 3, that you are in a state of depression that's masked as spirituality. There's this whole movement of like beingness and being one with stillness and, allowing things to happen and da 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 da. And although I'm a huge proponent of allowing, you find it hard to want to do anything, right? So your motivation and inspiration. So not only do you find that life is lackluster, it's overwhelmingly mundane or overwhelmingly, unfulfilling, you've not only lost connection with your passions as well, but you feel like you are no longer like connected to, like you've lost motivation for things. So like your dreams, your goals, your visions that you used to have for life, they've completely gone away. You feel like, what am I doing here? You've lost connection to your purpose. You don't know what your purpose is. And I always say your purpose is your passions. But you just feel as though you've basically, sign number 3 is that you've lost motivation and inspiration to do anything outside of what you've been normally doing. So this, back to the whole like life on autopilot. And then it's like part of this lack of motivation and inspiration is you also feel very overwhelmed and you feel very like just fatigued and tired all the time, right? Like maybe you find yourself sleeping a lot, or maybe you find yourself wanting to, stay in the house all the time and not really go out and do anything like you used to. Maybe you used to be a very big nature person, or you really liked going out and connecting with friends and all that other stuff. And you find that, or connecting with family members, and now you find that you don't do that anymore. So those are the top 3 signs that you're in a state of depression, masked as spirituality. And the way that it's masked as spirituality is there's this whole movement of allowing and being and allowing things to come to you, and being in the feminine aspect of the divine. And the way that this can get skewed is that I believe that there's a balance, right? I believe that there's there's a time for being, there's a time for movement, and there's a time for rejuvenation and rest and recuperation, right? And so what are those 3 things, right? When you think about being is all about being connected to who and what you truly are, being connected to the fact that you're a soul having a human experience, tapping into that, living from that inner knowing that you are a divine being, living from that inner knowing that you are a soul having a human experience. And what does that mean? So what does that even mean in pragmatic, like practical terms? When you live from an inner knowing of who and what you truly are, you're living from a state of certainty. You're living from a state of anything that you do in the world is okay, a-okay, because you are a divine being and you're here to have experiences. So you're free to do the second thing, which is move. You're free to move through your life. You're free to pursue your passions. You're free to do the things that light you up. You're free to follow your inspiration because you are a divine being. And it's those 2 things that are sometimes one can get pushed aside for the other. And then the third piece is like rejuvenation, right? And rest and recuperation, where you're giving yourself time to gestate, where you're giving yourself time to process and experience, fully take in the experiences that you've experienced, fully take in your creations, fully take in the feedback that you're receiving from life, and then just and shift and move from there again. So we have a tendency to like disregard one piece of this cycle, and when any pieces of this cycle of being, moving, and rest and recuperation, and I also call it on my website, I call it the whimsical essence, the ethereal essence, and the grounded essence. And ethereal essence is the essence of just being. The whimsical essence is this essence of like moving, following your inspiration, your creativity, and the grounded essence is this sense of just making it real, gestating, pulling in all the stuff like this. Is the grounded essence is more like harvesting. Now you're reaping what you sow, right? And anytime we let go or like disregard any piece of this natural cycle of life, this natural cycle of intuitive living, we can shift into a state of depression, and we can shift into this state of basically not tapping into our who and what we truly are. And we end up finding that we are in a state of autopilot. We are in this state of, life isn't really moving. You feel stuck and stagnant. You're not really accomplishing your goals. You're not really feeling fulfilled from anything that's happening or going on. You're just kind of humming and hawing through life and just allowing life to be. I'm just allowing, and yet you feel it's not an allowing from a state of joy and fulfillment and peace and excitement and connection to your divinity. It's just sort of like, it's a sort of like reserve and complacency. And that's a different energy altogether than allowing from this state of inner knowing of who and what you truly are. And yet you're still flowing with your excitement. You're still flowing with your passions. You're still flowing with what wants to be birthed. We're naturally creative beings. And when we aren't exercising and tapping into our creativity, we do create stagnation and just blocks within our creative field, blocks within our, that cycle that I just explained to you. So those are the 3 signs that you are in a state of depression that could be masked as spirituality in your life. And I'm going to just do a really quick recap. The first sign is that you've lost connection with your passions. You're no longer pursuing your passions. The second sign is that you've lost, life feels overwhelmingly mundane, lackluster, and unfulfilling. And the third sign is that you've lost motivation and inspiration to pursue anything, to do anything. You've lost that impetus or that kind of driving force. You feel like you've lost it. Ultimately, you never lose it. You were always creativity, inspiration is always there, but you feel disconnected from it, and you feel it's hard to even get yourself to move or do things anymore, because you just feel like you've lost that inspiration and that motivation. And so those are the 3 signs. And if you are someone who is ready to take back power over your life and get out of stuck, overwhelm, fatigue, chronic fatigue, just feeling like life is just on autopilot, and you know that you're meant to do more with your life, and you know that you're meant to create the life that you want in your life, then I want to invite you to get on the phone with me and have a free breakthrough session where we're going to talk about the things that are really holding you back personally in your life. We're going to talk about what it is that is really blocking you from creating the life that you want, whether it be, mindset blocks, whether it be your different habits or different practices that you need to incorporate. We're going to talk about the things that are just really blocking you. And then we're going to talk about the lifestyle that you really envision for your life and what it is, what your dreams are. What are the things that really you want to be achieving and receiving and creating in your life. And, then we're going to talk about the best and quickest, fastest, easiest way to get there. And I want to invite you to get on a free breakthrough call with me. Go to divineearthschool.com/call to book a free breakthrough session with me. Again, that link is divineearthschool.com/call. I put a link somewhere around this video, so be sure to click that link to book a free breakthrough session so we can get you clear on who it is that you are right now, what's blocking you, and who it is that you want to be, and the quickest way to get to that person. Because you deserve more. Because you are divine, and you deserve so much more in your life. There's no reason why you should be struggling with these 3 signs. And when you know that you are a divine being, when you know that you have what it takes, you know that you are deserving and worthy of your dreams. You're deserving and worthy of a life that is fulfilling, that is joyous, that is happy, that is peaceful, that is connected to a higher purpose and passion. And you deserve all that and more. So if you are ready to step up to the plate, go ahead and book a free breakthrough call with me at divineearthschool.com/call. This is Rachael Alexander, your artist and spiritual mentor, aka your spiritual health and life coach here. And I will talk to you guys soon. Peace, love, and light.